Alright, by request, we have some Euro sleeves here. House of Whipcord. Let's check it out. So this film is dedicated to those who are disturbed by today's lax moral codes and who eagerly await the return of corporal and capital punishment. Wow. One thing about this film is it is literally quite dark. There's a girl outside in the rain, and she's being picked up by a truck driver or somebody. So we flash back a bit. This is Julia, played by Anne Michelle. They're all at a party. They're talking about her friend Anne Marie, who's a nude model who recently got arrested for doing some nude photo shoot outside in the public. And this is Mark Desaad. So Mark and Anne Marie go on a date. He's kind of an odd guy.
Early and ice cube. M-E-D. Mark E. Desaad. Mark E. Desaad. Oh, it just sounds a little like something else.
Anyway, he decides to take her home to meet his parents.
You're late.
They live in this weird gothic mansion type place that used to be a clinic, or a jail, I mean. She's taken to a room and given some strange orders.
Take off your clothes and leave them on the table, all of them, and your shoes.
Should not be here.
I should not be here. What?
I don't understand.
You are not in this room to understand. You are in this room to be bathed and checked for vermin before putting on your uniform. Now get your clothes off.
According to the proper moral and disciplinary
She's brought to a court.
for conviction of a serious charge for exposing yourself unclothed without shame for monetary gain to a photographer in a public place.
I propose to enlighten you.
This is the blind judge.
This court, my dear young lady, exists outside the statutory laws of this land. It is a private court, and we are constituted here by private charter within the walls of this fine historic building that was once a county jail.
So these people are the moral police, and they feel that she wasn't punished enough for her crimes, so they throw her in a cell.
Oh, maybe
The anguish of gazing at your poor tormented face.
The judge is somewhat unaware of the way the prisoners are treated around here.
Desmond?
Margaret,
Not to the mount, I say. I'm sorry. Madam, I thought you were about to fall.
This prisoner just screwed up for the third time. First time you're put in solitary for 2 weeks, second time you're flogged, third time executed, death by hanging.
The risk just isn't worth it. But when the people leave here, surely they must go to the police. You don't get it, do you? Nobody leaves here.
Well, they decide they're going to try to escape and go rescue the girl who's going to be executed. But their escape doesn't last too long. So they make him sign a paper saying, you know, she's being released, but actually it's a death warrant. He don't know what he's signing, he's blind.
where is she living?
Now.
Oh, that's most encouraging news.
Yeah, they don't mess around in this moral prison. Julia's been looking for Anne Marie.
What?
You wouldn't believe this, but nobody at that party, not one of those people, knows anything about Mark Desaad. Not even Ted. There was pissed.
Back at the prison.
No, wait. We must get rid of her as soon as possible.
Get rid of her?
They're talking about Anne Marie.
Get rid of her.
Inquired.
Anne Marie finds Mark.
About it, but somehow my father, he was head of the prison commission. He got her exonerated. But she was dismissed from the prison service.
He says he'll leave the door open for her to escape.
What about the other girls? As well, one at a time. This evening, I will unlock your door.
So it actually does work. She gets out, but not very far.
Fortunate I was passing.
I wonder if Mark set her up. So they ended up whipping her.
Uniforms must be worn at all times.
And later on, she managed to get out again. And then we're back to the opening scene in the movie where a truck driver picked her up. Yeah. It's the same place she just came from.
She's in a pretty bad way.
She was exhausted. And they take her right back to where she escaped from.
It looks very serious indeed. I think you'd better bring her inside.
Truck driver had no clue.
Well, I expect we've held you up long enough, haven't we?
Oh, no. That's all right with me.
So the next day he sees a picture of her in the paper and he's like, I know who that is. That model, I picked her up.
What, your missus, is it? Making a bit on the side?
A lorry driver picked her up and took her to a private clinic. How? Well, he saw her picture in the paper, phoned the paper, and the paper phoned Melly at the agency.
Where?
I don't know. I tried to phone, but couldn't find the number.
Julia manages to find the place.
Who do you want?
I believe a girl named Anne-Marie de Verney was brought here yesterday. I'm a friend of hers. I wondered if I could see her.
There's nobody of that name here.
On the road.
They let her in, but deny that Anne-Marie's there.
Yes, that was the girl I saw this morning. Her parents came to collect her.
She didn't have a French accent.
No. Quite obvious, another girl.
Still, I'm coming back.
She calls her boyfriend and tells her that she's not here, and then she sees Mark, who she recognizes from the party.
Trouble, Tony. Terrible trouble. Help me, quick.
They make their way to Anne-Marie's cell, and she's dead.
How did it happen?
Really, my dear.
What's been happening here? What made her do it?
Young woman, you appear to be fully aware of your surroundings. This is a prison. Those locked in it are criminals.
They quickly sentence her.
Pass sentence, Desmond. She's a dangerous psychopath and must be hanged immediately. Pass sentence.
Meanwhile, Tony, the boyfriend, is trying to find her. The old codger's about to sentence her to death.
King, you have been convicted of conspiring to pervert the course of justice.
Now, she went in to stab. I think she believed she was stabbing Julia, but instead she was stabbing Mark, her son.
What have you done?
Tony finds the place and brings the police, as these two are trying to escape.
Mind if I ask you ladies a couple of questions?
Inside they find Mom dead. But apparently Julia is okay. And that's pretty much our film.
If there be a controversy between men and they come to judgment that the judges may judge them.
Alright, let's talk about the House of Whipcord. I have it on this DVD here from the Euroshock collection. Had this in my collection very, very long time, probably well over 20 years. And I've seen it only once. I actually taped it originally. I rented it and copied it from somewhere. Had it on SP speed tape. I actually had it on a EP speed prior to that too. A friend of mine taped it for me. But anyway, I didn't remember a damn thing about it. But I remember I thought it was kind of rough. And it really is. So what we have here, it's a film dedicated to people who want to go back to the old days of corporal punishment. So you know you're in for something. We have this mansion, which I guess was a former jail at one point. And there's a judge who lives there. He's blind, he's retired, he's a little bit senile. He, in fact, also likes corporal punishment also, as does the, excuse me, these three women who help him run the place. So, What they do is they find women who have been sentenced to very light punishments for crimes they've committed. Like this one girl, Anne Marie, who was a model, and she took some nude pictures out in public, and she got caught and fined for it, whatever. Well, they think that's morally reprehensible. So they have this guy, the son of them, of the judge and one of the women there. I believe it's their son, and he basically picks her up, brings her back to the place, come and meet my parents, type of like on a date type of thing. And then when she gets there, they take her prisoner. They strip her down, they shower her off, throw her in a cell, and then they bring her into court and they sentence her to a harsher sentence. And it's a really strict place. They have like maybe 4 or 5 women at any given time here. If you screw up, they put you in solitary for 2 weeks. If you screw up a second time, they flog you. Third time, they kill you, execution by hanging. So that's what's going on in this movie. It's a very dark movie in more than one way. For one thing, the camera is just very dark throughout the whole damn thing. It's hard to see sometimes, but they're basically in this dark, dingy, grimy dungeon. At one point, she tries to get out, but she gets captured again. And then her friend Julia, is played by Anne Michelle. She's on the outside. Is wondering where her friend disappeared to, and she remembers she got picked up by this guy named Mark Desaad. Get it, Desaad? But nobody seems to know who Mark is. But eventually, her friend Anne Marie escapes again, and she gets outside. But then she's like exhausted and everything. She gets picked up by this truck driver, and the truck driver thinks the big old mansion is like a clinic or a hospital or something. So he takes her right back there again. They take her in, and then eventually she hangs. She dies. Well, her friend Julia eventually figures out where she might be, tracks her down there, and goes inside and asks around, finds her friend dead, and then they capture her and sentence her to be executed as well. She manages to escape, and she's running around there. She actually was on the phone briefly with her boyfriend and basically said, "There's a problem, come help me." So he comes out there, and eventually he tracks down where they are. He brings the police and everything. The mother ends up stabbing her son to death by mistake. I think she thought she was the girl. It is very dark in there, by the way. And then she hangs herself, and the cops show up, and I guess they just rescue her, and they take everybody else away, and that's kind of our film. So there you go. Some nudity in here, some a little bit of flogging, whipping. Nothing actually outrageous, though. It's not as exploitative as it could have been, but there is definitely that aspect here. Again, my only big complaint here really is the quality of the print. Just very, very dark. And again, I think it looked as good as it could. I don't know, but there is a Blu-ray out there. Maybe that looks a little better, but very, very literally dark film. It's sometimes hard to see what's happening in this movie. So the director was a guy named Pete Walker. He did several other types of films in the 70s, exploitation stuff, British. So anyway, that's pretty much it. So anyway, it's if you're looking for the exploitation stuff, you can't really go wrong with this one. It's pretty good in that aspect. Like I said, fair amount of nudity, a fair amount of violence, and yeah. So anyway, check it out. Thanks for the recommendation. It's been a long time since I saw this one. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about House of Whipcord. Watch it. Bye. I'll leave a link to the Amazon Blu-ray if you like it. Like it.